Okay, off we go then. So tonight's webinar, as you can see there from the front slide, is called Personal Development. And this is one of a series of 8 webinars that I run. Call it the Kleeneze Circle of Success. Sorry, just slurping my mug of tea. And this is the 8th out of 8, so personal development. As you can see there, the first 2 or 3 are just all about the retail side, so the catalogue, a bit about Facebook, but basically building your customer base and finding your own customers selling products. Then the next 2 webinars, 4 and 5, are all about team building, getting started, and supporting your new team members. And then the last 3, of which this is the 3rd one, are those kind of intangible skills. It's nothing to do with putting catalogues out, it's nothing to do with recruiting new team members, but it's all those other skills that are really, really important in growing a successful business. And I'll expand on that in a moment. So personal development. I call personal development a process of self-education where skills and knowledge chosen by you, so you can decide what you want to learn, are learned in order to improve the quality of your life. So it can be anything. You know, you could be doing your maths GCSE again because you didn't do it at school, but you decided that you really wanted to do it now, so you learn how to do it, you get a qualification, and maybe that helps you get a promotion at work, and the extra pay improves the quality of your life. So that could be personal development. But it's not like school because you decide what you want to learn. So usually under the guidance of other people who have gone through some kind of personal development, you'll get some recommendations made. And in fact, I'm going to make some recommendations to you this evening. And one of my first recommendations is that you speak to your successful sponsor, your upline, to ask what books on CDs and personal development have they found most useful. And to be honest, it really varies because different people will have different areas that you want to develop. So it doesn't necessarily mean that just because your sponsor says, you know, I found this really useful, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will. But as you get exposed to more and more different books and CDs and things, you will kind of find a much broader range of areas that you can work on. So, why is it useful? Why should we bother with personal development? We all just spent sort of 15 years at school or whatever. We've left school, now we want to earn some money. Why do we need to go back and start learning stuff again? Well, hopefully, if you'll bear with me for the next 20-25 minutes, then I'll explain. So in the last module, the last webinar last week, we talked about the fact that everybody who joins Kleeneze has the same opportunity. We all have the same catalogues, we all have the same kind of products to sell, we all get paid the same bonuses depending on how much we sell and so on. However, some will succeed and some won't. And what we discussed was why your attitude is so important in your success. And how can you make sure that you are the ones that succeed? How can you work on your attitude? And the best way that I've found to work on your attitude and to guarantee your success is this self-education or personal development. There's a quote there from one of my favourite speakers, a chap called Jim Rohn. If you haven't come across him, I recommend that you search him out. Formal education will make you a living. That's pretty good. Go to school, and with a bit of luck, you'll get a job. But self-education will make you a fortune. And if you're not interested already, you should hopefully start to get interested. I just want to give you a little bit of example from my personal story. When I was at school, I did reasonably okay. I got some O levels and a few A levels. Went to university, but I was pretty immature at that age, really, and I kind of dropped out. Didn't really work properly. Languages wasn't my specialty. I did a bit of maths and I quite liked sciences, but I got a grade B in French, primarily due to the fact that we had a really good, inspiring teacher who dragged us all through our A levels. My German was about as low a score as you can get without getting unclassified, so I got a grade E in German. So not very good then. However, 15 years later, I took my GCSEs again and got a grade A in French and a grade A in German. And the question you might want to ask is, did I suddenly develop this skill in languages? Perhaps I can go and take a special tablet that you can get from Boots that boosts the the language centre of your brain. But in fact, no, it was nothing at all. It was simply that I worked hard because I wanted to. In fact, what happened was the company that I was working for, in the first case, they were bought out by a French company with a head office in Paris, and there were some opportunities for some people to go and work in Paris. And I thought, oh, blimey, I'd love to do that. So I decided to boost my chances of getting one of these opportunities. I'd go and study my French A level, my French O level in evening class. And that's exactly what I did. And in fact, I didn't get to work in Paris, but I then transferred to a totally different company. And the company that I then went to work for were a German company. And again, there were opportunities to go and work in Germany. And I quite fancied that as well. So I did the same. I went to evening class again, took German GCSE, and got a grade A on that again. And the point I'm making is that I didn't suddenly develop a skill. I decided, because I could see a benefit and I had a desire to achieve something that would improve the quality of my life, I worked really hard. And suddenly it became a lot easier because I'd worked hard. I did it. So the important thing here about self-education is you can choose what you want to learn, and you can choose to work hard at it because you will have a reason for doing so. So as I said there, because I wanted to do something, I worked hard at it, and because I worked hard, I got the results. And you don't have to only do that in French or German, you can do that in any aspect of your life. So that's all very well, nice little story there, but let's bring this back to Kleeneze. Why do people join Kleeneze? Now I have to admit, I've recruited a lot of people over the years, and I can't remember anybody actually joining because they had a passionate desire to deliver catalogues. Most people joined Kleeneze because they wanted a change. They wanted to improve their lifestyle, they wanted to earn some extra money, or they were sick of working for a miserable boss or whatever. So the catalogue side of it was irrelevant. It was just a way to achieve a goal, to improve their lifestyle. So I'm assuming that you guys are probably similar to me and to all these other people that I've recruited, that you didn't join because you were passionate about delivering catalogues. You joined because you had a goal, whether that was £50 a week to be able to treat the kids to a movie at the weekend, or £1,000 a month to pay off some debt, or to start saving up for your own house, whatever it was. I'm hoping that you've got something in mind that you were wanting to achieve by joining Kleeneze. And a question you should be asking yourself, even if your sponsor isn't or your partner isn't, is, have you achieved that yet? And if not, what do you need to do that? So I'm going to hopefully try to guide you through a few steps here that will help you achieve that goal, get that improved lifestyle, whatever it is. I want you to have that picture in your mind of what that goal was, whether it was that £50 for the pizza, or the £1,000 a month to pay off the debt, or the holiday, or the car. So that improved lifestyle is what we're thinking about here. So in order to achieve that, what you need are some results. And by that I mean you'll need some orders, you'll need to build a customer base. If you're wanting to earn bigger money and you want to earn residual income, then you'll need to start recruiting some team members and supporting them to build that residual income. So those results are what will give you the lifestyle. But in order to get those results, they don't just turn up on your door. You need to take some actions. And those actions in our business are, you deliver some catalogues and you speak to people about the opportunity. And now, of course, obviously you can post things online, Facebook and so on being the most obvious ones. But you need to take some actions. Those things don't get posted by themselves. The catalogues don't deliver themselves. People don't come knocking on your door saying, please can I join Kleeneze? Well, they might do, but you don't get lots and lots of people doing that. So you'll need to take some actions. And sometimes when you first join up, your initial enthusiasm will deliver those actions. You will go out and deliver those catalogues and everything. But in order to continue to persist and be consistent with all of these actions, you need the right attitude. You need the attitude of, if they can do it, so can I. And your attitude, the attitude is the thing that will get you up in the morning to get those catalogues out, even if there's a bit of snow on. So Zoe, who was doing her catalogues in the snow, pulling them along on her sledge the other day, who's obviously got a good attitude. But if your attitude is, oh, I don't fancy the look of the weather out there, perhaps I'll do it tomorrow instead, then if you continue with that attitude, then you're not going to be as successful as somebody else who has a better attitude. So in order to change that attitude, and as I said there, your attitude, whether it's good or bad, positive or negative, it's based on your philosophies on life. I'm going to expand on that in a moment because it sounds very grand. So hopefully you can kind of follow that chain of events. If you have some philosophies that allow you to have a positive attitude, a good attitude, and that attitude will ensure that you take those actions every day, every week, every month, every year to build up those results that will then give you that improved lifestyle. So hope that all makes sense. So we talked a bit about philosophies. As I said just summarising, your philosophies in life will determine your attitude. Having a great attitude will make sure you do the actions regularly. Doing lots of activity, lots of actions will give you the results that will give you the lifestyle that you're looking for. So what's a good philosophy? Where on earth do you get one of those? Can you pop down your local Tesco's and get half a pound of good philosophy? Well, unfortunately not, but you can get it by reading some books. And it's not necessarily Harry Potter and such like, but the books that you read, the CDs that you listen to, and also the people that you associate with will lead you to have good philosophies in your life. And anybody can read the right books, listen to the right CDs, and associate with the right people. And a lot of the people that I recognize from who are on the webinar tonight, in a way, I'm preaching to the converted because you are already associating yourselves with successful people. And if you went to, I know couple, Kerry and Danny I was speaking to earlier, were at our opportunity meeting last night. Zoe and Dave were at the millionaires meeting at the weekend. So these guys are already associating themselves with successful people. And that is a really good way to build good philosophies. So how do you start a program? What is a program of personal development? Well, in the famous words of Jim Rohn, anyone can start doing personal development. And one of the other things that Jim Rohn said, amongst all of his many quotes, which I like, the greatest value in achieving success is not the money you make, but the person that you become. So you can start becoming a successful person by just reading 10 pages of a good book every day. Now, if you're not quite sure what books to start reading, it's not Harry Potter, Enid Blyton, probably not either, but I'm going to make some recommendations to you in a minute. And as I said earlier, if you're at Millionaires, there's loads of good books at the Bids web shop there. Knowledge is King is another great place to find those things. So even if you only read 10 pages every day, and even if you took 115 days off in a year, that's still 2,500 pages a year. So that's about 10 good books. If you read 10 good books, that is a great start to your education. Now, I have to admit, until recently, I've got to admit, I much preferred listening to CDs than reading books. And so what I found for me, having a CD in the car, and most of the books these days, you'll be amazed at the number of books you can get, that are available as audio CDs, or also as MP3 downloads, so you can just put them on your iPod, your iPhone, and listen to them as you're walking along or just going about your daily business. But what I used to do was I'd have all these CDs in my car. Every time I got in the car, instead of turning on the radio or Kaiser Chiefs or anything like that, I would pop in Jim Rohn and listen to Jim Rohn as I was driving to wherever I was going. And who do you spend most of your time with? Now, this is quite painful sometimes. If you think about it, a lot of people, this quote, I've heard this so many times that you sort of think, yeah, I can understand it. If the 4 people you spend most of your time with are broke, you will be the 5th. And you can change that. And as I said, that sometimes that's a bit painful. If you've got lots of really good friends, but your friends are broke and they're always being negative, then that's quite hard for you to kind of change that, because you will find you kind of tend to behave the same as the people that you spend most of your time with. So you can change it by associating yourself with successful people. So even just little things like on Facebook, if you're spending time chatting to your friends on Facebook, or chatting to your maybe fellow Kleeneze distributors who are positive and excited, and their business is growing and you're seeing what they're doing, by doing all of that, you're starting to associate yourselves with positive people, and that will make a big difference. So just a few examples of philosophies. As you start to read some of the books that I'm going to recommend in a minute, you'll start to understand what I mean by philosophies. It sounds like a grand word. If someone had said to me 10 years ago, what's your philosophy on life? I'd have said something like, get to the end of the week safely and have a good beer on a Friday night. That was my kind of weekly philosophy. But once you start to read some of these fantastic authors, you start to expand your views on life. So I'm just going to go through a couple of my favourite ones at the moment. One of my favourite philosophies is take responsibility for everything going on in your life. So what does that mean? Basically, if you start to blame someone or something, then you lose the ability to do anything about it. So a good example was, suppose, mention Zoe again, sorry for picking on you again, Zoe. Zoe was saying earlier they had a lot of snow in Luton. It would have been easy for her to get really frustrated and say, you know what, I was going to get 250 catalogues out today. I really wanted to get these catalogues out because I'm heading on for my bonus at the end of the period. But that blinking snow has really put a kibosh on that. Or she could have said, well, I'll put my ice treads on, get the sledge out, and I'll put them out anyway. Because if you blame the snow, if you blame the weather, then you can't do anything about that. You can't stop it snowing, you can't stop it raining. But what you can do is you can choose to dress accordingly and go out anyway. And by choosing to do it, you're not blaming the weather, you're taking responsibility for whether or not you get those catalogues out. A couple of examples I'll put here. If you're complaining, if you're at work, if you've got a job, and you complain that your boss won't give you a pay rise, and you're sort of thinking, oh God, this is useless. I could really do with a pay rise. My boss is useless. He never gives me a pay rise. The company I work for are not going to give me a pay rise. You're blaming everything but yourself. Another alternative would be to say, I'm going to have a chat with my boss and say, what would I need to do to be promoted? And he might say, well, actually, you need to have more skills in this area, or you need to have this qualification, or whatever. And you could choose to go to evening class and get those skills and get that qualification. Now, even if your boss then decides he's not going to give you a pay rise after all of that, you've taken responsibility for it. And now, with those extra qualifications and extra skills, you are in a better position to go and find a different job if you wanted to. So by taking responsibility rather than just blaming your boss, you're now in control. Another thing that I hear a lot is people saying, you know what, I'd love to do Kleeneze, but I just don't have time to do that. Now, it's much better to say, we all have 24 hours in the day, you can choose what you spend your time doing. And it's much better to say, actually, I choose to spend my time watching Coronation Street and EastEnders and going for a drink with my mates every night, rather than earning some extra money or doing an evening class. At least if you say it in that sense, you're taking responsibility for those decisions. You're not blaming the fact that, well, I always have to go out with my mates, and I work hard during the day, so I need to chill out a bit and watch a bit of Coronation Street. If you blame it on your situation and your work, then you can't do anything about it. It's the fact that you have to work is the fault. But if you say, actually, I choose to spend my time doing this, then you can also say, you know what, today I'm going to choose to spend my time doing my Kleeneze business. And the fact that you're in control of all of this, you're responsible for it, what you'll find is that you have much less stress in your life, because stress is mostly caused by things that go on that are outside of your control. You're stressed out by other people's behavior or bills that are arriving or whatever it might be. But if you take responsibility for it and you say, I'm going to make the decision to do some extra catalogues so that I can earn the money to pay that bill, then by taking that responsibility, you'll find you're there is much less stress in your life. Okay, another little philosophy. Success is a few correct decisions repeated every day, and failure is just a few errors in judgment repeated every day. It's easy to think sometimes that you can be successful just if you only could just find the right opportunity and just make that right decision, then everything will be fantastic. Or equally, if you're sort of thinking, well, the only thing is if one catastrophic error occurs, then I'm going to be a failure overnight. And actually, those things tend not to happen. It's actually successful people are the people that just do the right thing every day over and over and over again and gradually become successful as a result of that. They don't become successful overnight. And again, failure, it's not kind of a catastrophic decision. It's not spending the time doing what they should do, not keeping an eye on the finances in the business, and over a period of days and weeks and months and years, suddenly they find themselves in a failing position due to errors that they made gradually. So just bringing that back to our business, you could decide whether to put 50 catalogues out every day. And that decision about putting them out every day, if you repeat that correct decision every day, then that would be 250 catalogues every week, and that would guarantee to build you a good, strong customer base over a period of time. If you're looking at team building, we talk about rods in the pond, so if you were thinking, well, shall I go and put a couple of shop cards up today, or maybe I won't? If you decide I'm going to do it anyway, then over a period of time, if you were doing that every day, then that would be 10, 12 shop cards a week, 40 to 50 shop cards a month. Again, over a period of time, the number of leads you will generate from having those shop cards, just because you made that right decision, will lead you to a successful business. And the same with, I talked about reading 10 pages of a good book. All these things are easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And you are the only person that can decide whether you're going to do them or not. And finally, and this is a great one for Kleeneze, for our business, help enough people get what they want out of life, and you can have anything that you want out of life. And in our business, that is so true. If you're team building and you can find people that are looking for an improvement in their life, and you can help them get that, regardless of what you want, if you help them achieve their £50 a week or £100 a week or £1,000 a month, if you help enough people do that, Kleeneze will pay you huge bonuses because of the work that you've done. Okay, I mentioned about philosophies and starting personal development, and there are some books that I've read over the past 4, 5, 6 years that I think have really made a big difference to me and the way I work. But this is not an exhaustive list. There are lots and lots and lots of books, and there are lots of new ones being written all the time, so it's always great. You can never stop reading and learning. So I've mentioned Jim Rohn already a couple of times tonight, two of my favorites. The first one there, Building Your Network Marketing Business. That's a CD. And I've got to admit, it was the first kind of personal development CD I ever listened to, and I think it's still my favorite now. It's really just his way of thinking about the network marketing industry. So it's not particularly to do with Kleeneze, but it is to do with team building and inviting people to your local meetings and so on. And he's just got such a great way of explaining it, and it just really makes it a lot easier for you to understand why some people don't bother coming to meetings when they said they would do, and why some people will never come to meetings. So that's a great one to help you with that. And then this particular book that I like, 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness, that's a great book on goal setting, on investment, and that's not just investment of your own money, but of your time. And he talks in there about his life philosophies, and I would say if you're interested in changing the way you think about things, then that's a great place to start. Yeah, Katie Walsh just said there she's read 12 Pillars by Jim Rohn. I really like that. It's quite a short book, and it's almost like a story, but in the story he introduces these, what you call these 12 pillars, just kind of different aspects of your life and your way of thinking that will lead you to success in all sorts of different areas of your life. So that's a great one as well, Katie. Thanks for that. Right, a couple of books here, very similar, but both great books. One's called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, and another one's called The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And they're both similar, and they talk about that philosophy I mentioned earlier. It's not the big decisions that determine your success or your failure. It's the little ones you make every day. And I would recommend either of those. And in fact, they're kind of both saying the same thing, but just in different ways. So if you like one, I'm sure you'll like the other as well. Sorry, excuse me a moment. Just have a quick swig. Then a couple more just to finish off. So Dale Carnegie, this is one of my favourite ones. It's quite a long read, not many pictures, lots of small writing, but it's quite an old book. But it's called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it was written by Dale Carnegie back in the 1930s, I think, in the time of kind of big American steel industries and things. And the gist of it is, he was this research was done by like a salesman who was going around all these different big sales offices for steel industries and things like that, and finding that it didn't really matter how good his product was, how good his sales spiel was, or anything like that. He was far more successful when he spent time getting to understand people and be nice to them. And as he said there, it's amazing what you get in return. So that's a great one. Just kind of little things like just smiling when you go out the door and things like that. It's just, I really like that one. So that's a good one as well. The next one down there, Darren Hardy, Design Your Best Year Ever. That's a great one for setting large, exciting goals and breaking them down into kind of monthly, weekly, daily steps to help you start from just what am I going to do tomorrow to achieve this house in the countryside that I would really love to achieve, whatever. So that's a great book, especially if you're kind of like a systemsy sort of person. If you like structure and projects, that kind of thing, you'll find that really, really good. And then the last one there, quite a new one that I've read just a few months ago now, but I really like it and I've recommended it before. This is called Steve Peters. The author is Steve Peters, Dr. Steve Peters, who did a lot of work with the Olympic cycling team when they were kind of transforming themselves and winning lots and lots of gold medals. British cycling team. And the book's called The Chimp Paradox. And it's just basically about understanding your own brain, why sometimes you get angry and frustrated and how to deal with that. And understanding that other people get angry and frustrated and they may not be angry and frustrated at you. So I found that really, really useful in terms of dealing with myself and dealing with other people. So that's a good one as well. Okay, so what I'd like to suggest to you all today, if you're not already embedded in your own program of personal development, is make a start. This is kind of not really the place for me to kind of create a program for you and to recommend exactly what to do, but those books that I mentioned there, they're all fantastic ones. If you can get one of those and start reading your 10 pages a day, then that would be great. So hopefully this will have inspired you a little bit to start. If there's anything, any of those books or CDs or anything else where you want a bit more detail so to help you track it down, just let me know. But that's pretty much it for this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Next week we go back to the beginning, starting all over again about getting started. So if you found this one useful but you're quite new to the business and you don't want to wait until next week, as I said earlier, these are all recorded and you can view all of the recordings on YouTube. So if you just go to YouTube and do a quick search on Chris Smith Kleeneze, you'll find all of the recordings. This one, I'm just going to stop the recording for this now. Wait a moment.